So did you ever have a very vivid dream where you thought was almost real when you woke up and you couldn't shake that feeling? Or did you ever go to a place or see a person and think, I already know them or I've been here before, even though you weren't there? That deja vu feeling that we all have had at some points in our life. I think it's kind of wild how the universe works. And today we have the expert to talk about this with us. Francine is here, and she is a psychic medium, a medical intuitive, but she's also a business strategist, intuitive business strategist, and an intuitive business matchmaker, which we're going to talk about when we go back, after we go back to the dream and the deja vu stuff. And I'm Deb Peterson, and you're listening to Balance Your Life podcast, Our Evolving Consciousness. So, hi, Francine. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Deb. Thank you for having me. So
Yeah.
I have those deja vus and the dreams all the time,
Well,
all the time. I mean, just like when I met you, I
right.
was like felt compelled to meet you and drive an hour and a half to go see you, and I'm like, I know you,
I
you know.
forgot about
And
that. That's right. And then we sat there for probably 4 or 5 hours.
yeah, six
Right.
degrees of separation.
Yes.
As far as the dreams are concerned, I dreams. So this is a really interesting fact. 80% of the population dreams in black and white,
Okay.
and 20% dreams in color.
Hmm.
When you dream in color, it's more precognitive.
Oh.
So basically dreams are like a movie, like we're in now, right?
Mhm.
But you can't turn the TV off. You can't get up, you're taped to the chair, your eyes are duct taped open, and you're watching a scene. And you see the main characters going in front, right?
Mhm.
And then you see the extras or the scene behind the scene. Basically, the dreams that when people are dreaming in color, they're more precognitive, symbolic, surrealistic,
Hmm.
symbolism, wishes, and fears. So it's not the main characters that you're supposed to be paying attention to. The message is really the scene behind it. And that's the pink elephant in the room.
Okay.
That's what I found. So, as an example, I dreamt, it's my favorite story. My dad was pregnant over 35 years ago. He's getting a C section. They were actually dancing cartoon pickles over his head, doing the can can. And and I kept on dreaming it for 3 months, but he's in the scene, behind the scene, and I see, the hospital and other things going on. And I would call him up and say, is there something going on with your stomach? And he would say no. And he was on the job. And after the third month, he's like, why you keep on asking me? I dreamt you were pregnant and giving birth. So he kind of, flipped me the bird. And a couple of weeks later, he had a triple hernia and they did laparoscopic surgery. So
Oh,
he
wild.
looked pregnant. I get dreams like that all the time.
It's pregnant. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's the pickles? Did you ever, or is that,
Pickles and ice cream,
oh,
like if I see it over a woman's head, I always think that they're pregnant or they're trying to be pregnant.
yes. Okay. That's
You
wild.
know, now the same thing with deja vus. And this is important. A lot of deja vus are really dreams that you're remembering later, which
Wait,
is really
I think
important.
about that.
Yes,
Dreams you're remembering later. Okay. Huh.
because we're in a society of quick,
Sure.
TikTok, this boom, 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 you know, racing. We most people don't know how to meditate. They don't take 10 minutes, right? So
Mm.
when they get up, when you first get up is when you have the memory of the dream.
Right.
And
Right.
so, you're supposed to keep a journal. I automatic write or I talk into my phone to keep a log of it. But a lot of people get up so quickly and within a couple of minutes, the dream is gone.
Okay.
So then
Yeah.
maybe a few hours later, the next day, suddenly they're like, this is familiar. It's really their dream, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Well, what about the dreams? I don't know if this is related, where you actually do remember them and then you remember them for years.
Yes, it's all part of it. It's all the layering. It's because remember, we only use 20% of our brain, or,
Okay.
I don't know about the new population, but most people only use 20% of the brain. And people that are more intuitive, people that are more creative, healers use more of the brain.
Mhm.
And they've also done studies that the frontal lobe is highlighted. If they did an MRI of somebody that's psychic and artistic and healing, their frontal lobe is highlighted more. The same with addiction and things like that. But it's very interesting. So
Yeah.
it's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. The more that you use it,
Mhm.
the stronger it gets.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, look how I met you. I mean, I felt compelled. And then when I met you, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I know you for 30 years. You know,
Right. So we're probably in the
did,
same soul group, right?
yeah, it's really interesting. You know, a lot of times when people dream that there's a death, it's not a death. It's a birth.
Mhm.
It's a new beginning, you know. And I always tell people to pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes. That tends to be more of the message, you know. And the other thing is, it, when you dream, you can't turn away. You're tied down. You
Yeah.
can't get up, right? And it's a great way to deliver things that maybe we don't want to hear. And it makes it more palatable. So
Right.
I've dreamt about a lot of things that weren't so good,
Mhm.
and they weren't preventable. But what it did is it cushioned the fall.
Okay.
It cushioned whatever happened.
And did you have the dream before it happened? Is that what you're saying? Or as it was
Yes,
happening, kind of like in your life
before
before?
before
Huh.
I've dreamed about clients, uh, family members, things like that. So like a client of mine, I was, having this dream that he was waving to me goodbye, and he was on a gondola, and I hear, "Oh, sola mia." I'm originally an artist by trade, anyone that's listening, so I'm very visually descriptive. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "What is that?" And he was very Italian. And unfortunately, I mean, he went to spirit,
Oh,
around Thanksgiving, 2 years ago it was, but he was telling me goodbye, you
okay.
know,
And then
you know,
how long till when you had that dream did he die, or did you wake up and the next day he was
like within 2, 3 days.
yeah, okay. Oh, wild. Yeah.
you know, and but he was letting me know he's okay, because my theory also is that the spirit, if a person's sick, right, the spirit, like an animal, knows that they're going to pass.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the spirits will give messages to their loved ones beforehand
Right
to say
before.
goodbye.
Yeah, I've heard that before, definitely. Yeah.
Well, you've had a lot of experiences with that, so around the people that you deal with.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard it all. Right. But sometimes but sometimes we hear new things that, that I haven't heard, which is, it's always fascinating because there's so many layers to things that, especially
Yeah.
this kind of work.
Well, the other thing is, when you're getting a dream and a deja vu, or both, it doesn't have to be at the same time. The thing is, they want you to listen. They want you to look at this and pay attention. It's sort of like a quiet tapping on your arm. Wake up, pay attention to this. It's a message. It's important. And it could be something stupid. You know,
Yeah.
you left $100 in your wallet, and you left your wallet in the car, or you went and you left $100 in your pocket and it's in the washing machine. Whatever it is, you just have to pay attention, you know?
Yeah, no, I remember years ago, speaking of, it's funny, I remember vividly, I would say like 20, 25 years ago, I was taking a certain medication for something and I kept getting these dreams like not to be taking it. Like,
Yep.
I mean, like reoccur. Well, I wasn't like paying attention. Like, I guess I pay attention a little more now, right? I have all of you around me. It was in my corporate life. So I wasn't really, as tuned into things. And I kept thinking, why am I dream like they must have been hitting me over the head because I kept having it. And then I said, that's it. I'm not taking this anymore because it must be. And then later, now I look back and go, wow, they were trying to tell me to stop.
Yep. Yep.
It was
Well,
wild.
the same thing happened with me. We just went over the whole thing with COVID. I was vaccinated for everything except for that. And in the voice, like and I have a lot of weird allergies, and I have asthma, and we lost one of our family members to it. And the voice said not to do it.
Okay.
And I'm glad I didn't do it. A lot of people now have a lot of regret. It's not any different. You know, God will make us listen if we don't listen.
Right, right. That's true. Or something will be taken away if you don't get rid of it when you're supposed to, right?
That's
Those
right.
kind of things happen all the time. Yes. Well, Francine, can you tell, like, do you have any tips for people to like pay attention more or what they should do when they have those feelings or I don't know, tips, techniques, whatever you want to call them to the
When
audience?
I do a reading, I always sort of teach people, like, a lot of people have been having a lot of anxiety lately. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of astrological stuff go on. So a few of my clients, I'll say, well, was it around the full moon? Was it around the new moon? Whenever you're feeling this way, take a step back and look up online, what's going on astrologically? Is there something? Was there a storm? Things like that. To breathe. The people are doing breath work now, which is great. Try to sit in silence for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know, at least for 10 minutes. For me, because I'm ADD and dyslexic, it's really hard for me to meditate, but I force
Meanwhile, this
myself
is
for
what you
10
do for a
minutes.
living. Right.
Well, because I'm like, even when I'm like trying to sleep, I'm hearing and I'm still getting messages, you
Sure.
know.
But I'm saying for
But
like the average person, if you could recommend, do you have any ideas?
oh yeah, everyone is psychic though,
I,
and
yes.
everyone is psychic. And if, let's say, somebody meets a new person and they feel drained,
Mm.
or they feel weird, or they feel tired, or they're nauseous, or something rubs them wrong way, I always say to listen to it. You
Mhm.
know, what happens is that people second guess themselves all the time.
Yep, we talk about this all the time. Yeah.
You
Second
know,
guess
and,
themselves.
and
Why
the
did
thing
I feel that?
is
That can't be right.
well, think about it. If there's a blackout, you're walking down the street
Mhm.
and it's dark, and your hair stands up on your arms, that's God's way of warning you that there could be danger lurking and not to ignore it. You
Mhm.
know, when I was growing up in school, I wrote story about intuition for school in like grade school.
Right.
I was in junior high school actually, and at the time, the teacher disputed me, saying intuition didn't exist, and
Oh,
I'm like, and I wrote this whole thing, and I'm like, animals, we're animals.
yeah,
You know, we're being taught to ignore those things, and then it can have very bad consequences. You
absolutely.
know.
Well, how many times,
Hmm.
well, probably not you, but like the average person, has an intuitive feeling. Again, we talk about this all the time on here. And then or it's a fleeting, quick thought that goes through and you think, why did I think that? Oh, that can't be anything. And then later you find out, why didn't I listen to that? But sometimes it's so subtle or so quick. And that's it's hard to discern, if you're just running around in life and, you know.
Well, when I was a kid and I first started dating this guy when I lived in the Bronx, and if he's watching this, he'll know who he is. Um, he had a kind of a bad reputation. I'm not going to get into logistics of it, but he was very good looking, and he was a steam fitter, and he really strong, and he cleft in his chin, and blah blah blah, green eyes. And I was really difficult with him. And when we finally got together, or the day before we got really together, because I kind of held him at bay for a very long time. I had a dream that a thief or an intruder broke into my apartment
Okay.
and put me in the stove.
Oh,
And
in the
I woke
oven.
up screaming, and yeah, and it was a message that I was going to get burned, and ultimately,
Ah, so interesting.
and fire for me freaks me out. I think I might have been burnt at the stake in another life. So
You and
I
many
was
others
just
on
like,
this show.
"What'd you say?"
You said you and many others that come on this show.
Oh my God. I woke up screaming. I'll never forget that, You know, so, even with doing the psychic work, I'm an artist originally, and I would have visions since I'm a kid, and I would always say, "What am I supposed to do?" And I would hear,
Oh,
you know. So like, pay attention to your body, like a tapping, the hair standing up on your arms. If you get a headache, you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Or you hear somebody talking and you hear the word no. Like somebody will talk to me and I'll hear liar, liar, pants on fire, because I hear songs.
Right. Yeah, but you're more
You know,
advanced. I'm saying for like the average person, so that's a good thing. I also have heard somebody said to me, and I thought it was really good. I try to remember if you're trying to make a decision, and they said, well, if it's not a yes, then it's a no.
I always say, when in doubt, do nothing.
Right, same thing. It's the same thing, right? But it's you got to remember that, right? That's a tough one because sometimes people just want to take action or you want to make your decision.
But there's also a lot of gray area. Sometimes it might be something in the middle.
Oh, true.
So writing things down,
Mhm.
putting it in ink,
Mhm.
or talking into your phone will help the thought process.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
Do you
that's
know what I'm saying?
I
I
do.
think it's really beneficial. I mean, you're very intuitive, even though you kind of, you know, but this is why you do good at what you do, because you are intuitive. But you're very analytical.
Yes. Uh-huh. All right.
So
I try
your
to be
brain
open
goes,
more with all you guys
yeah,
around teaching me
well,
things over the years.
your brain goes like this. I'm sorry, I don't mean it goes. Which one of these things doesn't belong?
Oh.
You're so like you're an analytical deductor.
Mm,
It doesn't make you less intuitive. It just may take you a little longer. So you have to trust your gut more.
okay. Thank you. Right. And I know you do a lot with the birthdays, right? Because you do astrology as part of your
I do a
repertoire?
little bit of astrology, but it's more intuitive, and I do my own kind of numerology.
Hi, Deb and I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you for joining us. We hope that you're appreciating all of the guests that we're bringing you, and we wanted to ask you to please remember to subscribe below and like us so we can continue to bring more guests and take a deeper dive.
And send us comments if you have any feedback. We would love to hear from you.
Kind of numerology.
Okay.
So after 40 years, I rebranded the past year.
Okay.
So what I noticed is about 10, 15 years ago, I started getting numbers. Now I'm dyslexic, so go figure.
Yeah.
And if I see a number over the person's head, it becomes like the roots of a tree, or the arms of a tree and the leaves. It starts to grow like what's behind you,
Okay.
and it tells me a story. So you're a one or a three like me, you know, um, and one of the young ladies, I think Chris, I think I was talking to
Oh,
her.
Christina.
She,
Oh, yes, our camera.
yes,
Yes.
Chris.
Oh, yeah. You want to tell her something? Do you want to give her a
Well,
little?
she's great. She told me her birthday was 10/2/01,
Yes.
and she is an even number. So she would always juggle two things or four things. If she meets a guy, she'd meet two guys or four guys.
She's
You
shaking
know,
her head, yes, because nobody can
yeah,
see her, but yes, she's listening. Yeah.
yeah. And
A couple things.
she
Yeah, she's too. Yeah.
she's very much like you too, though. She's very analytical.
Mhm.
She's creative, but she's like an architect or an engineer in her creativity. It has to be balanced. No pun intended for your name.
Yeah,
See,
right.
balance for your life.
That's true.
Whereas me, I'll just put like a splash somewhere. Like I don't have the balance the same way. She has to learn to trust her instincts also. You
Hmm.
know, and she likes to help people, and she doesn't have a boundary. Like
Oh,
she doesn't put a boundary with people, so she has to learn to tell people, "I'd love to, but I can't."
okay. Oh, she's saying that's true. Can you hear her? Okay. Wow.
Yep. Also, she feels bad for things. She also has the past situation and a new situation, or the present, kind of battling each other. So I don't know if an ex resurfaced or something. It's not a bad thing, but maybe it's something going on in her own head,
She's
because
out right now, just so everyone knows. She's looking at me. She's like, "Oh my gosh," shaking her head. Confirmation. Okay. Sorry, but
well, the thing
people
is,
are listening. I want to, yeah.
yeah, but she wants to make sure she's making the right decision, so she overthinks it.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? Yeah.
That's like so accurate. That's
Do you have a question or something like, do you have a decision you have to make that you want an answer? I don't know.
I think it literally is just a battle in my own head constantly, and that's just.
Yeah, but she shouldn't be charging rent to herself in her head.
That's great.
So 99% of the time, the first thing that pops into your head and the first vibe is normally the right answer.
But then we start overthinking it so much. Can you remember the first thing? Because
No.
sometimes, yeah, because I can't
It
sometimes.
gets drowned out, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It gets drowned out. Good way to put it.
But that's why you should write it down or talk into the recorder.
Okay. True.
And well, the thing about this, when people take multiple choice questions or the SATs and things like that, if they finish early, a lot of times they go back over and they change their answers, and then they find out that the first answers were the right ones.
That you should always go with your first answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do that a ton on tests. Why did I change that? Right.
Yeah. I love you. You're so funny. Oh.
Well, okay. So, Michael, do you want Francine we also have Michael here. He loves this stuff too. So
I would love one.
Oh, can I see him? Michael, come here. Let me see you.
Jump in. Michael gets to be on camera all the time. It's so funny.
Oh, you're adorable.
Thank you.
What's your date of birth, Mike?
January 25th, 2004.
Okay, so you're actually very intuitive yourself. Extremely.
Want to sit?
If
you have to stay on?
You are.
To sit down?
Yeah, no, he can. Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry.
He's very intuitive. So it's interesting. I'm a February Aquarius. My birthday's in 2 weeks. And you're a January. January Aquarians are more business oriented. Like, they're more likely to have a state or corporate job and then do a side hustle. Whereas myself, I live by the seat of my pants. Okay. I don't like the restriction, right? You are able to kind of drown that other noise out and you're not as temperamental in that way, but you are extremely, extremely empathic. And, so there's two kinds of empaths: conscious, where you can block, and subconscious. You are subconscious. So you're taking on a lot of people's stuff, and you can be more moody. You're a little bit of a roller coaster, and you don't have a middle, and you have to learn how to balance that. Whereas I'm a little bit chaotic with my business or other things, but on an emotional level, I have a switch. You understand? So I'm not as, I can be emotional, but not as moody as, so to speak. So you could be a little bit more moody, a little bit more depressed. Pay attention to the full moon, new moon, because it'll affect you pretty heavy. Also, storms. Electrical storms will totally wipe you. And you got to watch your joints.
Interesting.
And one other thing, you have sensory issues also. So you don't like large crowds, large noises, smells, sounds, things like that. And that will get stronger as you get a little older. So just kind of be aware. So if you're going to go to a concert, get there an hour early.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can map everything out. But you are extremely psychic, extremely intuitive, and you'd make a good healer.
Yeah, I have to jump in just for a second and ask, is there a way, if he's a subconscious empath like that can you give, like, so that he can turn it off at times when he does not need to be doing that, so he doesn't absorb everybody's energy and stuff?
Alkaline water or hydrogen water. Another stone that is my favorite stone is tumbled selenite. It's a white milky stone. If you look behind me, there's like a little globe. It's like a white milky stone. They have towers and stuff like that. I have one actually taped, double stick tape on my desk. I wear them. Black tourmaline, blue kyanite, and black kyanite. They help to ground. And also you can use black onyx or obsidian, because it'll help block, but you have to drink lots of water. And the other thing you could do is, if you have a desk, get a glass of water, use a glass, water and put a couple of drops of vinegar in it. And at the end of the day, if there's strands, it's captured, it's sucked in all that energy. Or some people, you can also just take the water and you don't drink it and you dump it and you refill it every few hours. Those are the things,
That's great.
and pay attention to who drains you.
Hmm. You said a lot of
You're not crazy.
things that connect. Like the moon, I feel like it sometimes switches. Like when it's waxing, things get really better for me, and then waning, things get worse. And sometimes it switches and reverses.
Really?
And I've been
Yep.
told that, like myself, that like to other people that like I feel like I don't have a baseline sometimes. It's really up or really down. And I
Mhm.
struggle with finding one level to like operate at.
But that's where the extreme is. You don't have the middle,
Hmm.
and that will be part of what you're going to learn. And the other thing is, you're just like the other young lady where you overgive. Okay. And there is something else. You will be doing presentations for people at some point. I see you in front of people. So you have to work on that and don't be scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
He
so
just
much.
turned 21, so he's got a little time, right? He's still in school.
He's 21, going on 45.
He is. He really is. Amazing.
And one other thing, when he gets stressed, if you see him clenching his jaw, it means you grind your teeth.
Oh.
You might need a mouth guard.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. And one other thing, you had an ending recently. Let it go. Like, I'm not sure if, see, the word ending doesn't necessarily mean a breakup, but it could be somebody left, moved, went to spirits. There's some sort of ending, and they're saying that there's nothing you could have done about the situation.
Mhm.
I don't know what it means, but that's what they're saying to me. And they're saying to me that if you have an Italian bread and you break it in half, you can't put it back together. So either make sandwiches, breadcrumbs, or feed it to the birds. Because I see you doing this, trying to.
That resonates
Yeah, but that's
with like my mom passing
Yeah, I was thinking that. It's been
okay.
a while now.
Okay, what's her birthday?
January 18th, 1967.
She was a tough cookie.
Yeah.
Very sweet, but very tough. Maybe we can continue this another time because what they're showing me is she also was extremely intuitive, and I think that affected her pretty much.
Hmm.
There's a really because I'm an artist. There's a painting called "The Scream" by Edvard Munch, where so
Yeah.
like she's holding her head, and they said that you would know what I mean by that.
Hmm.
Okay, but there's nothing you could have done. My hair is standing straight up on my arms.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's like super like,
Mhm.
and then she's singing to me, "Don't cry for me, Argentina." Yeah, so she's around you a lot, and she'll help you.
Literally was just gonna say that. That's what I was getting. Like I'm like, she's like right there helping you.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah. She tickles his feet at night.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, is that funny? Yeah, she loves you very much.
Thank you.
Remember one thing: when we go to spirit, we don't leave.
Mhm.
If you take a pot of water and put it on the stove to boil, when the water boils, it evaporates. It doesn't leave. Those particles are all around us. So that's what happens to our spirits. They're all around our loved ones, giving us hugs and kisses and giving support.
Mhm.
So just to explain, it
That's
was
great.
very nice meeting you.
Thank you. It was nice
I
meeting you
love
too.
that.
I'd love to continue this another time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you got anything else you want to say to him before he leaves?
Just trust yourself and be confident.
Mhm.
Okay.
Own it. Own yourself. You're a badass. Excuse my French, but
Yeah.
you got it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Great.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah. Nice meeting you.
Thanks, Francine. That was good. That's yeah. I
I
feel
love doing that.
Yeah, I feel like so, Michael, it's so interesting because Michael's a fairly new intern, like what, like a month or something? I don't know. It's funny how I don't know how he came to me, like just talk about weird deja vu. I don't think it was by accident because um he is intuitive. He actually does cards. He
Okay.
practiced that quite a bit, and we immediately set up a psychic Sunday and things. But he has a major hand in. I told you that we were moving, so in where we're going to. And what's so interesting is he lives in the town, and the place is in the town where my dad was born, raised, my grandmother lived, my whole family, like,
Oh my God.
right? I mean, I used to live there when I was a baby, and we were like, my dad's one of four brothers, and like all the brothers stayed there except for like my dad. We whatever. And I was saying, I'm sure my dad had a hand in this, orchestrating this whole thing. And also, I was told Michael's mom, like, so they're all
That's
working.
so great.
Yeah, because if you really look at the scenarios of how it happened, it's crazy.
But it was meant to be, and it was divine intervention and the right timing.
Right, exactly. So that's why, so it is like a deja vu feeling for me actually to even go back to that time.
Well, well, you're going to be in a really great space, and you won't be in a sardine anymore. Sardine can. And
Right. Well, it's going to be a little smaller actually, I think, than what we have. It's skinnier, but that's okay. It's
but
beautiful.
the space feels bigger to me
Oh, interesting.
energetically. Energetically, it feels like the energy is more vibrant. It's not repressed.
Right. Good. Awesome. Looking forward to it then. But it's just so funny how everything just lined up, and there's so much more to come, which we'll talk about another time.
Well, I can't wait to see it and
Yeah.
be participating
Yeah, I
in it.
can't wait till, yeah, you should come and hang out with us, definitely. Do you have anything, do you want to tell me? I know you asked me what my birthday was earlier, so
Um,
you asked.
so what, you're one or a three like me, and things will always happen to you in threes. So the fact that you have the new space has three rooms, treatment rooms, it makes perfect sense. And what's going to happen is everything's going to happen at once, and anything that you can envision for this year will present itself.
Okay,
You
great.
know,
That always
you
happens
know,
when everything happens at once. It's crazy. Yeah.
and also the person that we were talking with is going to have an opportunity, and that's going to happen probably within the next 9 to 18 months.
You mean Michael? No.
No, the person that we were dealing with for a few months. That's a celebrity.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, really? Wait, say that again?
So the celebrity person that we were dealing with that, has to have it her way and
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
right.
I think she's going to have an opportunity. Things are going to start to pop for her.
Oh,
And
okay.
then if you choose to work with her, if we choose, we can.
Oh, okay. It's funny. I like forgot about that because it's, yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's always in the back of my mind, but that's interesting. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, we could talk to you forever, but we're basically, at the end. But thank you. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thanks for the reading.
And one other thing, just watch your lower back.
Okay. All
No,
right.
no, because when you get stressed, I think it would affect you there.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
just,
How do I?
but thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chiropractor. All right, Francine. It was great to see you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much and have a great day.
You. And we'll see you next time.